Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be predicting the 2023 Miami Open. It is round 1. Let's do this. I know I haven't uploaded in a while. It's been since like the whole month, to be honest. I only uploaded a little bit at the start of the month. But we're here now. I was going to do Indian Wells, but a lot of things happened, so I wasn't able to do that. Here we go. It's Miami time, and there'll be more videos throughout this week and next week. Hope you all enjoy this video. Starting off here with Felipe Alves, a qualifier versus Facundo Bagnis. The funny thing about this is, I actually watched Felipe Alves play in the United Cup. I actually saw it and it was quite funny. Well, I don't know why it was funny. It was a good match. I saw him play. He ended up winning it for Team Brazil at the start of the year. So I'm going to go with this one. By the way, just to let you know, warning, 32 players have a bye for this first round, so I'm only doing 32 predictions. So if you notice, I'm not predicting any seeded players. That's why, because there was only 96 entries for this tournament. So I'm going to go with Felipe Alves here. He played. Here's the thing: I can actually now judge his gameplay, actually, because I saw him do it. So I think he's going to win. He's a strong player, some really fast serves and good gameplay. So I think he'll be able to win this one and move on to round 2. Up next, we have Andy Murray versus Dusan Lajovic. I'm going to go with Murray here. He's had a really good season so far. The start of the season has been incredibly good for Andy Murray. He's back into he's in the top 50 now in the world, which is great to see. He's world number 50. If it wants to load. Up next is Andy Murray versus Dusan Lajovic. I'm going to go with Murray here. He has had a very good start to the season, very consistent, has had some great tournaments, and playing has just been absolutely unbelievable. So I'm going to go with Andy Murray on this one. He ended up making it to the finals in one of the tournaments earlier on, only a couple weeks ago, not a couple but a few. He was in Doha, and he's world number 52 now, so he's been moving up, and I think he's going to move on to round 2 here in Miami. Now we got Oscar Otter versus Brandon Nakashima. This will be a good match. I think I'm going to go with Nakashima though. Pretty good player. I think he'll have the edge over Oscar in this one to get on to round 2. Now we got Marc-André Huesler versus Albert Ramos Vinolas. This will be a pretty good match. They're both very talented players and quite similarly skilled, I'd say. I might go with Vinolas on this one. I don't really know too much about every single player on this draw, so I'm going to go with Vinolas on this one. I have never heard of this player before. Wildcard entry, Emilio Nava. He's like a Challenger Tour player, I'm pretty sure. I have never heard of him in my life, but I know who John Isner is, and I think John Isner's going to win against this player. I think he's got a good chance of doing it, so I think he'll beat Emilio here. Now we move on to Guido Pella, protected ranking player, versus Juan Pablo Varillas. I think I'm going to go with Juan Pablo here. He actually, I remember, he pushed Zverev. I don't know if Zverev just came back from injury, but still, he pushed him to 5 sets at the Australian Open. He's been quite decent of a player, and I have a feeling he's going to have a decent tournament. I'll see. Guido is 581 ranked in the world, but I think Juan Pablo Varillas will make it to round 2. Up next, we got Weibing versus Kyle Edmund. Protected ranking player. I'm going to go with Weibing here. I know it's quite instant, but Weibing hasn't had the most consistent results recently, but he's been playing really well. He did win a tournament in Dallas, his first ever ATP Tour title, so I think he's got this one to move on to round 2 in Miami. Pedro Cachin versus Marton Fucsovics up next. I'm going to go with Fucsovics here. I don't really know these players too much. I know Fucsovics, but haven't really been following him recently, so I'm just going to go with him. I think he's quite strong still, but I think he'll get ahead of Cachin. Alrighty, up next we got Ilya Ivashka versus the qualifier of Daniel Altmaier. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. I probably did, but that's okay. Ivashka, I think he's going to win. I think he's got strong playability, if that's a good word to say. I think he's got this one. Alexei Popyrin versus Mikael Ymer next. I think this is going to go to Alexei Popyrin. Here's why. Not just because I'm being biased to Aussies, They played each other quite recently in a tournament, and Popper won 6-2, 6-2. I think he's still going to carry that momentum to move on to round 2 and beat Yima once again. Now we got Emil Rusevori versus Nuno Borges, the qualifier. This one, I'm going to go with Rusevori here. Rusevori, he's pretty consistent of a player. He's in the top 100. I think he's in like top 50, top 60. I'm pretty sure. But I think he's going to do well and move on to round 2 in Miami. Now we move on to Taro Daniel versus Arthur Rinderknech. Taro is a wild card. I still think Rinderknech might be able to take this one out here. I'm not really sure. I haven't been following these players at all, really. So, but Rinderknech, by what I can remember from like ages ago, he was good. Things change. I still think he's going to win this one. On to Alexander Vukic versus Laslo Djere. I'm not sure here. Alexander, he is not very good ranked. Well, he's in the top 170. I think he's like 168. And Laslo Djere is in the top 60. But you never know, things can happen. So I'm going to go for a bold prediction here. And I'm going to go with Alexander Vukic. I'm doing it. I'm going with it. I think he's going to win this one. Fabio Fognini versus Jean-Leonard Struff. Qualifier. I still think Fognini's going to win this one. He hasn't been so good recently. But I reckon he'll be able to do this to move on to round 2 in Miami. Ugo Humbert versus a protected ranking player that we all know, Gael Monfils. He's a dad now, so he's protected ranking because he's been looking after his kid, and it's been... Indian Wells didn't go so well for him, let's just say. Lost in round 1, but that's going to happen. That's what happened to Stan Wawrinka, it happened to Murray. You would lose, and you'd come back. It'd take a lot of time, but if you keep playing consistently, you get there. I think Humbert's going to win this match, though. But Monfils, it'll take time for him to get back to where he was before he stopped playing. I think Humbert's got this one. Alexander Bublik versus J.J. Wolf. This is going to be an interesting match, I'm going to say. I'd say so. But I'm going to go with JJ here. I think he's been playing quite consistently recently. Bublik, not so much. He's been playing in the Challenger Tour right now. But I'm going to go with Wolf on this one to move on to round 2. Thanasi Kokkinakis versus Zizou Bergs up next. Kokkinakis, he's a lucky loser. He did lose in his final qualifying match, but very lucky for him, managing to move on to the main draw. Zizou Bergs, wild card. I still think Kokkinakis can do this. He'll have a second chance at this. I think he's going to go well and win this match. Okay, up next we got Adrian Mannarino versus the wild card of Shang Jincheng. I think it's a very interesting match, but I think Adrian Mannarino will come out on top on this one and move on to round 2. Good player, I think he's got this. Now, this is going to be a spicy match. Christopher Eubanks versus Dennis Kudla. Very good match. I have a feeling that Christopher might take this one out, though. I actually have a feeling this could be the case. A qualifier actually winning. So, I'm just going to go with it. Gregor Barre. I'm sorry if I pronounced it wrong. I probably did, most likely. Versus qualifier Roman Safulin. So, how's this one going to go? I'm going to go with Gregor here. I think he'll have a strong show and do quite well. I haven't really heard of Roman Safulin playing decently since ATP Cup last year, so I mean, yeah, I'm going to go with Gregor here. Pedro Martinez versus Quinton Hallis up next. I'm going to go with Hallis here. Martinez hasn't been playing too well. I don't know. Some of these players, I haven't been following most of the players. Hallis, I know he's been doing well right now. Consistent. I think he's got this one. Now we got Daniel Alahai Gallen versus Mackenzie McDonald. I think this will be an interesting match. I think McDonald's got this one though. Very good player. And I think he'll do well here in Miami. To move on to round 2. Alex Molchan versus Jordan Thompson up next to qualify. I'm going with Jordan Thompson on this 100%. He was able to defeat Stefanos Tsitsipas last time out in Indian Wells. It was a really good win, close match, and he did awesome in it. So I'm going to go with him again. He's going to go quite well in this tournament, I think. I think he's got this one to move on to round 2 at the Miami Open. Now we got Roberto Carballes Baena versus Bernape Zapata Miralles. I'm going to go with Bernape on this one. Very similar names these two have. Well, not similar, just... yeah, you know. But I think Bernape's got this one. He's pretty good, and I think he's got this one. Okay, it's time for Thiago Monteiro versus Jason Kubler. I'm going to go with Kubler here. Kubler is a very good player. Australian masterclass. Yes, I'm being biased. But still, he's going to win. I think Kubler is much better of a player than Monteiro. Monteiro's good, but I think Kubler's got this one. So move on to round 2. Alrighty, lucky loser Alexander Kovacevic versus Jaume Munar. I probably pronounced that wrong. I'm sorry if I did. If I didn't, that's okay. He's won number 102. And I haven't heard of this guy before ever, up until when I checked. He managed to beat Matteo Berrettini, I'm pretty sure, in a Challenger Tour tournament. So that's confusing why Berrettini's playing there. But anyways, I think Munar's going to take this match out. I think he's got a good shot here for this one. Now, this is going to be a spicy match. Lorenzo Sonego versus Dominic Thiem. Very spicy indeed. I'm going to go with Dominic Thiem this one. This might be a bold prediction, I think. But I think he's got a good shot at this. I think he's going to win. Move on to round 2 here in Miami. Set things off. Very good. Now on to the battle of the 2 qualifiers. Yosuke Watanuki versus Benoit Paire. I'm going to go with Paire here. He managed to beat Kokkinakis in the qualifying finals. He's been quite decent. He's a decent player, can have ups and downs, but I think Benoit will move on to round 2. Now we got the qualifier Pavel Kotov versus Thomas Martin Etcheverry. I'm going to go with Etcheverry here. He's a decent player. He has some good results every now and then. He's been alright recently. I think he'll get the edge over Kotov, so I think he's going to do this one. Move on to round 2. Federico Coria versus Gigi Lehechka. I'm going to go with Lehechka here. He's quite consistent of a player. He's been pretty good so far this season. Had a good start to the year. Made really far in the Australian Open. He went to the quarterfinals, I'm pretty sure. And he's been doing quite well. So I want to go with him to moving on to round 2 at the Miami Open. On to our penultimate prediction. We got Marcos Giron versus the qualifier of Christian Garin. I want to go with Garin here. He's a pretty here-then play. He's good at some points in some tournaments, but then other times he's not so good. I think he's going to have a decent tournament, but at least he'll make it to round 2, I'd say. Final match, we got Richard Gasquet versus lucky loser Christopher O'Connell. Now, I know, it's hard. Aussie bias. But it's not going to be here today, at least for this match. Christopher O'Connell will probably lose to Gasquet. I'd say Gasquet, very consistent player. He's very good on the tour. Had some good shots and good play style. So I think Gasquet will move on to round 2. That is going to be it, everybody, for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Sorry there hasn't been much videos recently. I've been busy with doing lots of things. And there's more videos coming. I've got co-op on the way for this last race. There's another one this weekend at the British Grand Prix. So Canada will be out soon. And also, I know at the start of the year I started making a Cobra Kai meme video. And it would be soon. It's taken a lot longer than expected. I'm going to try to start working back onto that. Getting that out as soon as possible. Probably a little bit, but we'll see how that goes. But thank you so much for watching, everybody. And I'll see you all in the next one. Have a nice day or night.